With Chinese New Year coming up, here are 3 classic Cantonese dishes my dad almost always features in his epic 9-course feasts. In line with tradition, he always cooks pork, chicken, and fish for the table. To start, we'll make the Cantonese barbecue favorite,
燒肉。
Chinese crispy pork belly.
Hello， 朋友們，大家好啊！今日咧就同大家介紹下呢個喺屋企整焗五花肉，即係燒肉嚟㗎啦。呢度係大概係2磅10安士嘅肉啦。做之前咧，我哋將呢嚿肉俾啲滾水再飛一飛水佢先。而家咧我就俾水落去嚇，2杯水咁上下就夠，少少水就夠啦。而家我開火嚇，如果開到最大火，滾水之後咧就擺嚿肉落去煮佢。
In a large wok, we'll bring 2 cups of water to a boil.
好啦，水滾，將個肉擺個落去，擺個皮落去呢度下邊落去嚇，喐佢。
Shirley asks, how do you buy the pork belly with the skin on top?
我吞一吞有得賣㗎，但係嗰個有得賣啫。
One day we went to Costco buy meat. Then we want to buy the meat for 燒肉 because the meat is totally frozen. We cannot see very well. When we went home, we open it. Oh, there's no skin.
冇味嘅。
But this 燒肉咧 the most attractive part is the crunchiness of the skin.
Yeah.
So if you don't have the skin, then will be kind of not much this dish.
等佢個皮入邊嗰度熟咗之後咧，吉嗰個窿嘅時候咧，就會容易啲吉下，好快脆得啦，幾分鐘得㗎啦。
而家係猛火。
猛火，咩猛火？
After a minute of boiling with the skin side down, we'll flip the pork belly.
好啦，呢邊就應該得㗎啦，反轉佢。
After just 30 seconds of boiling with the meat side down, we can remove it.
好啦，個肉咧就浸過滾水啦，拎開佢。好啦，而家咧就擺入喺凍水嗰度，都刮一刮佢，刮面上嗰啲有啲嚟睇乾淨佢嚇，刮乾淨佢。
一定要刮。
佢啲豬皮會有啲毛喺度，要刮乾淨佢嚇。刮咗之後咧，呢啲咪邋遢嘢係嘛？
With a knife, we'll scrape off any hair or dirt on the skin.
啲水係咪當嚟洗定係咪有運到啲嘢？
嚿肉嗰個凍水，一個係洗，一係個凍水啊。好啦，而家乾淨晒。呢個水之後咧，我用啲廚房紙抹乾啲嘅先，用啲紫索乾水佢。
Then, we'll dry the pork belly with a kitchen or paper towel.
呢個時候咧就篤窿用牙籤得啦，咁篤就得啦嗱。
Some of the belly have a thick skin. You choose a thicker area. Don't buy the skin is located in the thin area. That thicker skin will make your skin more crunch.
都有咩作用？
佢等啲皮索咗啲醋入去之後咧，佢會爆咗啲一個泡咁出嚟嘅。窿咧就越做得多越好，越密越好嗱。叉都 OK， 牙籤就最好，牙籤夠尖。
We'll poke holes into every part of the skin with toothpicks or a fork.
你篤嗰時要篤幾深喎？
唔使好深，呢嚿皮好薄啫嘛，
即係篤過個皮啦，係嘛？
誒篤個皮得㗎。
Notice how he's using 2 toothpicks to do it more quickly here.
For restaurants or like ranch, Chinatown, when they're making this in mass, they can't sit there with a toothpick and Is there a tool that they use to just kind of roll across and get a lot of holes at once?
佢用啲鋼仔啪釘住有啲鋼絲喺度成扎咁。
We gotta get one of those.
After we're done piercing the skin side thoroughly, we'll flip over to the meat side.
佢完窿之後咧，背後咧呢度得3刀，唔好太盡啦，1/3就得㗎啦，咁樣
解有咩做？
醃嘅時候佢容易入味啲，
He'll first score the meat lengthwise into thirds.
煮完嘅時候咪切出嚟咪會咁咩咯？
Then he'll score perpendicularly along the length to form squares.
切嘅時候就係咁啦，睇到嘛？切咗之後咧，我哋又落味咯喎，落咩味咧？五香粉係半個茶匙，黑胡椒粉咧1/3個茶匙就夠啦，白胡椒粉咧少少得啦，1/4就夠啦，蒜子鹽1個茶匙，鹽咧半個茶匙，攪勻佢。
咪一定要有五香粉啊！
你五香粉又會香啲，當然你唔中意五香粉就唔落五香粉咯，唔緊要。搞之後咧，我哋搽上去，擺上呢度，呢個匙羹擺條罅度擺上去，
喺入邊啊！
又喺入邊度。總之咧就將嚿肉搽勻晒佢。
We'll rub in the dry seasoning on just the meat side, making sure to get it into the gaps we just cut.
呢個就頂晒啦。面子醬俾2個茶匙就夠啦，一個茶匙糖上去。
你唔可以同埋一齊撈啊！
唔可以搽上去就係搽上去，好多人唔落呢啲，但係我中意落面子醬，佢個味道會更加好。你可以唔落，就咁搽上就得㗎啦。
With the ground bean sauce and sugar mixture, we'll do the same. lathering just the meat side of the pork belly and getting it into the gaps as well. We have all of these ingredients listed on our blog at madewithlao.com, along with step-by-step instructions and video clips to guide you as you make the recipe at home.
搽完之後咧，就用個錫紙整個好似個盤咁裝住佢，長過呢個，整好之後多過佢咁就得啦。擺佢上嚟呢度，將個肉擺上嚟，俾皮喺上邊嚇，
We'll put our pork belly onto a large piece of foil with the skin side up.
變成一個盤咁樣，
啲皮唔使加啲味啊。
皮唔使整住，皮肯定仲要自己整，俾醋。
We'll now fold the edges of the foil up to form a sort of dish around the pork belly.
咁樣至有咩作用？
包住佢，下邊嗰啲肉咧，經過焗爐嘅時候咧，就唔會太過燶，同埋佢有啲汁喺下邊，嚿肉唔會咁乾。
所以你係咁樣擺落焗喎。
係，就係咁擺落焗爐焗。
As my dad mentioned, the name of this dish is suyuk, which literally means roasted meat. Like tasiu, it belongs to the epic family of siumei, which means Cantonese-style roasted meats. This dish uses the fatty cut of pork belly. How do you identify high-quality pork belly?
你買翻嚟已經睇到佢有分，佢係一定一層肥一層瘦，一層肥一層瘦，叫五花幾層啊嘛，叫五層。
What he's referring to is the Chinese name of this cut of pork, mfayok, which translates to 5 flour or 5 pattern meat. So when buying your meat, look for those luscious layers of fat and meat to create the perfect bite. Traditionally, these meats were painstakingly roasted on spits and open fires, but nowadays it's impossible to walk through a Chinatown without running into a Chinese barbecue shop with dozens of delicious roasted meats hanging by the window. Is there a symbolism for this?
The symbolism for this is just good for our history. We don't have a lot of meat to eat. So when you have a piece of pork meat, you make them look good, taste good. Most of the time, just do it when we have a birthday, New Year, maybe holiday.
呢個時候咧，就要擺翻落嚟呢度，俾個碟裝住佢，施少鹽上嚟個面上。
Now, we'll sprinkle some salt onto the skin and rub it all over. Salt draws out the moisture in the skin, resulting in a crispier final result when we cook it.
加少少多啲咁落去。
We'll use a total of 1 tablespoon of salt here.
而家啫落咗鹽上去之後咧，好快脆咧，佢就將入邊嗰啲豬皮入下邊嗰啲水分扯上嚟㗎啦。而家開始濕㗎啦，5分鐘咁上下，佢就已經扯晒啲水上嚟啦。
未耐啲係咪好啲啊？
落啲唔得會扯得個乾水就得㗎啦。
Now we'll wait 5 minutes for the salt to do its thing.
濕晒啦，睇到嘛？好啦，做完呢個步驟之後咧，將啲鹽抹咗佢，
After 5 minutes, we'll wipe the salt off.
濕晒，刮晒佢出嚟。
My dad uses a knife here to scrape off all the salt.
好啦，抹乾之後咧，已經有呢樣嘢，俾醋，呢個係白醋嚟嘅，唔係醋。
Now we'll pour on 1 teaspoon of white rice vinegar and spread it around to make sure it's covering all of the skin.
醋有咩作用啊？
等佢個皮會爆脆啲，
第二啲醋得唔得啊？
最好就係白醋啦。
Someone said, I made it once and the skin was still so hard. What did I do wrong?
篤得唔夠好，篤得唔夠密，同埋咧個皮爆得唔好。好似我而家用啲鹽扯晒嗰啲水出嚟。總之佢個皮越乾咧，佢就爆得越靚。嗱，我又俾啲醋上去，一窿滲咗入去，咁啊爆起上嚟，咁啊爆。醋可以去咁啲肥嘢，炸子雞又好，燒鴨又好，都係要用啲醋嚟冧過隻皮。
After adding the vinegar on top, we'll need to refrigerate it to dry out the skin even more.
整好之後咧，擺雪櫃最少10個鐘、12個鐘，等個皮乾透咗先至焗，咁佢就會啲皮咧就會脆啦。而家擺雪櫃，嗱咁樣將佢擺喺上邊嗰格，因為佢封口喺上邊嘅雪櫃，佢會更加夠力。
While we wait, we're super excited to launch our new course, the Cantonese Feast, just in time for Chinese New Year. The Cantonese Feast is our step-by-step guide to cooking the most epic family-style feast for holiday dinners and celebrations. It's one of my favorite family traditions and one of my dad's most impressive displays of his cooking experience. So in this course, my dad's walking us through how he single-handedly cooks his famous 9-course meals, from shopping, prep, to cooking. You'll be learning every little detail, tip, and technique to ensure that crafting your own feast is effortlessly successful. Visit club.madewithlao.com/feast or click the link in our bio to see what's on the full menu and to get the beginner's guide to cooking the best holiday dinner your family's ever had.
好啦， 咪啊我而家嚿肉咧醃得夠時間啦，擺咗一夜，我而家攞出嚟準備開始焗。
After 10 to 12 hours in the fridge, we can take out our pork belly. As far as tools, we'll need a baking pan and a rack that'll fit into it. Today, we're using a toaster oven, but an air fryer or a conventional oven will work just as well.
擺咗一夜之後咧，啲皮已經夠乾啦，摸落去硬聲，嘎嘎聲噶啦，咁而家就開始焗得到噶啦。先將個爐開熱佢先，
We'll preheat the toaster oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit.
開400度，我要落少少水落個盤嗰度。佢個好處就係咧，太過熱嘅時候嚿肉會一下燶咗，所以落少少水落去，半杯水咧，
點解要有啲架啊？
晾起佢咧，佢嚿肉咧就底下唔會燶咗。好啦，我而家咧就擺咗落嚟。 擺上嚟呢度，擺翻正佢，要等到個爐夠400度先至擺入去。如果用嗰啲大爐咧，就唔需要咁高個溫度，375度好啦。細爐咧，佢嘅 power 冇咁大嘅。我通常用細爐多啲，因為我唔想洗大爐。佢都焗嘢食。
如果係大啲爐啊，時間係咪一樣啊？
都係差唔多嘅啫。嗱，燒到而家個爐就咗啦，我校翻375度。
When the oven is done preheating, we'll lower the temperature to 375 degrees Fahrenheit.
好，375，我而家擺嚿肉落去嗬。
Now we'll put the pork into the oven.
想問喎，嗱而家咧前一半嘅時間咧就等個肉熟，最收尾調高溫度咧就睇住嗰啲皮爆啦。
係咪幾多時間
20分鐘至25分鐘。
As a summary, we'll cook the pork belly a total of about 1 hour. After preheating the toaster oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit, we'll lower the temperature to 375 degrees Fahrenheit and put in our pork. After 20 to 25 minutes of cooking, we'll turn up the heat to 425 degrees Fahrenheit and cook for another 30 to 35 minutes to crisp up the skin. For a conventional oven, you can lower the temperature by 25 degrees Fahrenheit respectively. These times are approximate and will depend on your particular oven. Definitely check on the skin 10 to 15 minutes before the end of the hour to make sure it's perfectly crispy but not burnt. To be extra safe, you can use a meat thermometer to check if the interior is at the minimum temperature of 145 degrees Fahrenheit.
嚿肉咧焗到而家就1個鐘頭可以得㗎啦，拎出嚟。哇！係我哋個肉。 按照我呢個方法做咧，包冇失手。而家咧就唔係切得住，起碼要1個鐘頭咁上下啦。等佢凍咗之後咧，收咗啲汁先至切得到。你而家切佢咧，啲汁就流晒出嚟，就冇咁好食噶啦。
？Can you freeze it after it's cooked？
你如果係諗住2、3日咁樣擺雪櫃都唔怕噶。你如果你係咁嘅，我唔食，我有1個禮拜唔食啦，咁咪擺幾時啦？
咁點樣解凍啊？
解凍咪拎出嚟咪解凍。
拎出嚟咪由佢等佢自己凍。
你自己凍啊！
After we let our cooked pork belly sit for an hour, we can cut it.
個燒肉拎到而家就可以斬得啦嚇，睇下靚，聽下啲聲就已經條皮好脆啦係嘛？啊，而家開始整啦啊！
With a cleaver, we'll first cut the pork belly into slices lengthwise along the already scored cuts.
哇！
Oh my god！ Patty from Patreon asks, how do you keep the skin crispy when you store the leftovers？
嚿肉咁樣擺翻正嘅喺牆上，俾個爐焗翻佢啲皮脆啦。
Yeah.
買個位就唔得，蒸又唔得。
Air fry in the oven.
Once we have long slices, we can lay them down and chop into smaller pieces like so. Now let's see just how crispy it really is.
哇，卜卜脆。
Oh, that's so good.
Made with Lao ASMR.
燒肉就燒好咗，斬好咗啦，希望大家中意。
Wow.
This is so good. Yeah, this is for sure one of the best I've ever had.
The shoe in Chinatown many times.
Yeah.
Eddie Lau is the best.
Yeah, superior.
Good.
We bow
Thank
down.
you.
Thank you for that.
Next, for a milder dish, my dad will teach you how to make Cantonese poached whole chicken along with the delicious ginger scallion sauce to pair with it.
各位朋友又見面啦，大家好啊！今日咧同我介紹一個咧就係白切雞。白切雞咧就係我哋中國人過年時候咧必備呢個菜嚟嘅。啊，今日我哋咧首先俾隻煲上去啦，要幾多水咧？起碼隻浸過呢隻雞嘅面上。啊，好啦，我而家俾水啦。我為咗方便咧，我就用加啲滾水落去做嗬。好啦，我哋用啲滾水落去。俾一個茶匙嘅鹽上去啦， 一個茶匙咁鹽得啦，唔使好多。水就擺上去啦，好啦，將佢擺隻雞。最緊要咧呢度咧要整穿㗎，呢個頸嗰度嗰啲皮咧要俾佢整穿嘅，即係將隻雞入邊個胸同埋呢度係通嘅。咁佢就咧個好處就等佢入邊嗰啲水嗰啲熱水啊，就唔好封死入邊，將嗰啲熱水咁樣流通。咁隻雞咧就容易啲熟啦。同埋首先咧雞髀掹開佢，鬆開佢，就唔會黐住呢度啊嘛。黐住呢度咧，佢咪難熟啲咯，知道嘛？變咗咧呢度熟，嗰度呢度夾住嗰度就唔熟咯，係嘛？如果你掹開佢咧，呢啲肉屙落同埋嗰度一齊咁快脆啲熟。嗱，我哋首先咧擺隻雞落去嚇。
Make sure the water is already boiling before you do the step. Your stove's heat should also be in its highest setting.
擺隻雞落去之後咧，拎起佢入邊個雞胸入邊凍啊嘛。我而家整開佢咧幾次咧，入邊啲雞胸啲嗰個肉咪熱啲咯，係嘛？而家咧咁就未夠水啦，等啲滾水浸過個面之後，咁先至快脆啲熟，係嘛？睇啲嚟，將啲水加滿佢，呢啲都係滾水嚟嘅。好，我哋而家冚住個蓋佢咯，冚住蓋嘅咧，等佢滾一陣間先，佢5分鐘咁上下啦，開個5分鐘咁上下，等佢啲水滾啲，先至再閂慢火啊！因為我哋呢屋企做呢啲啊，個煲係比做餐館嗰啲個大煲咧，啲水係多啲嘅。咁佢嘅喺餐館咧，佢嘅浸呢個雞就快脆啲啊，唔使好似我哋咁樣，佢掉落去就得㗎。同埋咧，我哋浸呢隻雞需要嘅時間係幾多咧？係35分鐘至40分鐘咁上下啦。啊，而家就將個火開頭啦，開到最猛，而家都係最慢，窩住佢。而家計起數咧，40分鐘就將個火閂慢，啊，等佢慢慢咁浸住佢，你唔好煲到佢滾喎，滾一滾係咪先？啲雞肉咧就冇咁好食㗎啦，知啦？隻老變咗老一陣下老就變咗老，唔好食啦啲雞肉咯。你慢慢咁浸，等佢浸熟佢，咁啲雞肉咧佢咧就會好滑啦啊。
So in Mandarin, chicken is 雞。雞 we always say New Year you 大吉大利，大吉大利。大吉 mean good luck, not bad thing happen, like no accident, no tragedy, nothing bad.
Yeah.
So always good luck.
Yeah.
And 大利 mean good profit. You make a lot of profit in the new year. We usually in the new year say, oh, 大吉大利，大吉大利。Simple like that
Good things, yeah.
when we have a banquet, family urine party, like a birthday party, the meal have chicken on that table.
It's like not complete if you. It's like a necessary.
It's not saying that complete, but this is the kind of one of the meat. Good symbol like for good thing.
三樣嘢都要有，
點解係3樣啊？
三樣嘢，一個魚，一個豬肉，一個雞，3樣，一定有3樣。
Some means 3 animal meat. We call animal called sang, like a chicken, fish,
Yeah.
pork. But most of the time we go buy roast pork.
好啦，我哋而家個雞就整落去啦。我哋而家再做咩咧？薑葱最緊要呢樣，我哋用4條嘅葱咧，用啲白色嘅，用啲葱白嗱，
點解？
靚啲啦嘛。一個又靚啲，一就好食啲。嗱呢啲啊，留翻呢啲啊，煮大洋菜咧，留翻呢啲紫菜，即係咪煮咩都得啦嚇。嗱，首先咧開個邊先，將啲薑開湯啦，切碎佢。先你話想整幾多啦，多少啊隨你整嗱。你用剩咗，咁你可以留翻佢，第二樣食都得，點嘢都得嘅啫。食麵食飯啊都用佢都得。
Second, what my dad said, I use this on basically everything. It's really good.
葱就切咗啦，再切啲薑啦，呢個薑嚟嘅， 先切成薄片先嚇。
This sauce is an absolute must-have when you're eating bap thit gai, and it's an addictive sauce that goes well with everything. I'm way more particular than my dad is about weighing and measuring things, but my dad emphasized that the specific amounts of ginger and green onion don't really matter too much. In this specific instance, my dad is using 42 grams of green onion and 36 grams of ginger. Most recipes I've seen elsewhere tend to use more green onion than ginger. My dad spent about 4 minutes total mincing the ginger and scallion, so it needs to be pretty finely chopped for the perfect flavor and texture.
依話俾幾多用幾多啦，隨你中意咯。你又係想多整多啲佢，留翻一啲，第一慢慢食又得。然之後咧，再成切成好碎嘅、好細嘅嗱，睇住啦，慢慢咁切下，唔使急。或者你屋企有嗰啲薑刨啊，刨用嗰個刨又得嗱。
One thing to note is that my dad is using 2 separate plates to hold the ginger and the scallion since we'll be cooking the ginger first.
而家咧就整埋呢個姜葱梳士先啦嚇。我哋係俾5個湯匙嘅油落去，燒到嗰啲油咧，佢有300、400、400咁上下啦，我就倒啲姜落噶啦，倒到嗰啲有幾多隻？
If you don't have a thermometer, a good visual cue is to wait until the oil starts shimmering or forming ripples across the bottom of the wok.
通常咧如果喺餐館咧，佢啲燒到啲油好犀利嗰時就倒落去個碗嗰度就得啦。但係我哋屋企咧一定係要俾啲姜落去煮佢，先至再倒啲葱落去嚇。好啦，我而家就俾啲姜落去啦嚇，跟住睇到啊，炸咗先嚇。
Cook the ginger for about 15 seconds before adding the green onions.
先煮啲薑，等佢煮熟佢嚇。好啦，姜就得噶啦，再倒埋啲葱落去。
Cook everything for another 20 to 30 seconds before transferring the sauce to a bowl.
得噶啦，咁就得噶啦，好快脆，好容易嘅啫。嗱，唔使呢個熟噶啦，嗱，睇到啊，倒佢落嚟嚇，嗱睇到，睇到啊，倒佢落嚟，係咪？好快脆嘅咋，燒滾啲油一倒落去就係啦。
點解要燒滾條油？
燒滾啲油咧，佢先至整啲薑先至香，啲薑葱先至夠香啊！你知啦，薑味先至出嚟，知嘛？然之後咧，俾鹽啦，要俾鹽嗬。呢個係茶匙，呢兩個夠咯。覺得佢唔夠鹹，可以俾多啲啊。麻油，最緊要俾麻油嗬。呢個梳士冇咗麻油就冇咁好食噶啦。麻油咧，呢個湯匙落去，嗱一定要記得俾麻油嗬。少咗麻油咧就冇咁好食噶啦，記得啦。嗱，搞佢。試下佢味道先，呢個咧就應該就一隻雞就唔用得晒㗎啦。你咪如果有剩，你咪放低佢做其他嘢食咯。好嘢，好食嘅啫呢個。我哋屋企啊個雪櫃經常有嘅，而家有啊。試下佢係唔夠味咧，咪再唔夠鹹嘅，你可以再加啲鹽落去又得。嗱，試下佢先。你試下仔嗱，係咪啊？咁講啦，整好呢個啦，係嘛？好容易啊，係嘛？好啦，隻雞咧最多就有10分鐘到就已經熟噶啦。我咧而家準備啲 ice，睇住，佢嘅作用係點樣咧？我話俾你聽下，隻雞咧一流起上嚟咧。馬上將佢凍結咗之後，嗰啲雞入邊啲雞嘅焦水咪唔會流咗出嚟咧，係嘛？隻雞仲係熱噶嘛，佢慢慢入邊嗰啲雞啲焦水流晒出嚟啦，流出嚟隻雞就乾啲啦，同埋咧啲雞皮咧會爽脆啲，個作用就係咁啦。等陣間我就會留起隻雞直接擺落去嗰啲凍水同埋 ice 嗰度，等啲雞肉馬上收縮，唔俾啲焦水流晒出嚟。呢個就係咁嘅原因啦。等陣間就快得噶啦。雞就差唔多啦。嗱，我而家咧喺個最後個肉嗰度，俾個筷子吉佢入去。如果咧呢度冇血水出嚟咧，呢度再冇紅色嘅血水出嚟咧， 隻雞就證明佢熟啦。最後係呢度啦嘛，喺度個雞髀嗰度啊，吉佢又會吉深啲。如果呢度咧冇嗰啲紅色嘅血水出嚟，咁呢隻雞就熟啦。
Like my dad said, if you poke it and see any blood or reddish water leaking out, then just cover the pot and let it cook for a few additional minutes. You can repeat this poke test until the fluid that leaks out from the chicken is clear. Once that happens, you can transfer it to the ice bath.
嗱，證明呢隻雞已經熟㗎啦。好啦，我哋而家整起佢嗬，整起擺過嚟呢邊，35分鐘，唔夠40分鐘，35分鐘就得㗎啦。留起隻雞嘅時候咧，就將佢串就兩隻雞翼嗰度，兩個筷子或者兩條咩咁串喺個雞翼嗰度，啊咁得啦，係嘛？我成隻雞留起咗啦，得啦嘛。好啦，我哋而家擺落嗰啲凍水嗰度 ，OK， 好啦，馬上將佢急凍嚇，等佢凍咗佢。
Let the chicken sit in the ice bath for about 5 minutes, occasionally rotating it around so that every part of the chicken gets cooled by the ice water.
隻雞好靚，幾靚，等我浸下佢先嚇，好快脆。
如果冇冰水咁冇咁好食啊？
冇。嗱，如果好似我哋咁快脆一即刻咧就炸切咧，就屙落啲水都流晒出嚟個砧板度啦。一凍咗之後，佢將啲雞啲椒絲收喺度入邊，知嘛？
哇！
所以啲雞皮都好爽㗎，係咪？啲雞肉都有好多椒絲㗎，係咪？你講我哋啲喎朋友佢話雞肉同啲皮甩晒，就係隻雞唔夠凍。你話俾你聽嗱 Costco 嗰咪西維咧，啲雞都可以就開始咁樣浸㗎，啲人可以咁浸。你冇不過你又買啲唔好咁大隻嘅，3-4磅左右咁就好啦，唔好太大，太大就咩？我呢隻雞係差啲唔多4磅，呢隻雞差啲4磅。太大嘅雞來浸嚟，我諗啲雞肉會粗一啲。
嗰個雞咧係咪要煮少啲時間啊？
係開始瘦少少，嗰隻雞係細啲嘅，係3磅到，呢隻係4磅，差唔多4磅。大隻嘅你咪浸多陣間咯。反正佢嗱，呢隻雞好靚。
Once the chicken is done cooling, transfer it to another bowl to let the water drain out from the cavity.
嗱，我哋而家開始準備嚟切呢隻雞啦。咁雞咧，我就通常就唔用切菜嘅刀嚟切嘅。嗱，啲刀咧係靚刀嚟㗎，係唔係我嚟切肉啊、切菜嘅呢種刀嗱，切肉啊嗰啲冇骨嘅 OK。嗱，呢啲刀係靚刀嚟嘅。呢把刀咧就送俾個仔㗎啦。嗱，呢把刀都係靚江門刀嚟嘅。聽到啲聲有啲鋼呢把刀咧就愛嚟有骨㗎，就咁切雞啊咁 OK 呢張刀嚇 OK 好啦，我哋自己準備切隻雞啦嚇，睇嚟呢隻雞腳攞出嚟先嚇，呢隻雞腳嚟嘅，條頸先。
When I first started Made with Lau, documenting how my dad carves a chicken was high on the list of traditions I wanted to learn and share. There are lots of different ways to cut a whole chicken, but it always feels like I'm watching an artist at work when I see my dad gracefully chop and plate everything. Every cut has an intention and every piece has a place. Almost everything goes on the plate and nothing is wasted. Especially for Lunar New Year and other celebrations, bak sit gai is meant to be one of the main decorative centerpieces on the dinner table, and carving it up into beautiful bite-sized pieces is an honor that I hope to take on one day for my own family.
好啦，剪除雞翼先喺度。你冇啲刀係西人嗰啲廚房刀就難啲㗎啦，好似呢啲刀就方便啲，嗰啲就難啲。嗱，除咗雞髀先啦，嗱，再除雞髀。
There are a few things to keep in mind as you do this. My dad's done this hundreds of times, and it took him about 10 minutes from start to finish. It'll probably take a lot longer if you're a beginner like me, but the main thing is just to make sure your cleaver is sharp and that you're moving carefully and deliberately.
搣就開啦，嗱，左邊擺左邊，右邊擺右邊啊，分開自己知道點樣做嚇。好啦，頭先做咩咧？雞胸肉呢度啦。
If you don't already have a cleaver, it's still technically possible, but I highly recommend getting one if you plan on making this dish. We have links to a few great options in our description and on our blog post. For easier, safer cutting, you should use a larger, thicker cutting board that's preferably made of wood, and you should place a moist towel underneath it to increase its stability. And finally, if you're following Cantonese tradition, each piece of chicken is laid out on a large plate according to where it was on its body, head to toe, right to left.
OK， 嗰隻雞胸肉啦，嗱，呢個咧雞絲忽，擺翻呢度，你話完美啊，擺齊㗎啦。好啦，個雞背脊嗰度取佢兩邊。
A technique my dad uses a lot involves making a shallow slice to wedge the cleaver, then hitting down on the blade with his palm to drive the blade through the bone.
佢兩邊係嘛？冇睇到啦， 左邊還左邊，右邊還右邊嚇。擺翻佢喺呢度，要係左邊嘅。
In our knife skills interview, my dad talked about the 3 different parts of the blade: the root, the belly, and the tip. When chopping through bone, he always makes contact with the root, or the part of the blade closest to the handle.
排翻佢嚟右邊，呢邊係右邊嘅。睇先嚇，咁樣先擺翻佢。好啦，雞胸肉咧入邊嗰條骨除咗佢，拉就開啦，一拉佢就係嘛？好啊。好啦，咪雞胸肉成嚿喺度咯，冇骨㗎啦，係嘛？好啦，整切啲佢。咁我整好晒啦，完完整整雞胸啦嗱，呢個過嚟，擺佢中間，擺喺中間啦，雞螺柚擺翻呢度，
呢啲骨係紅色係咪好啊？算好，唔紅色係咪太熟啊？
如果係太熟啦，係啊太熟啦。如果係柯羅都係唔係即係做隻雞就太熟啦，咁有少少呢度個骨就好正常嘅咋。咁就好正常嘅咋。
The bone is not red anywhere. It's
Yeah.
too cooked.
Oh, that's good to know.
That is good.
你柯羅等佢入邊嗰啲隻雞就熟得滯㗎啦。
This is really tender.
Yeah.
係咪好滑啊？係咪？
When I was a kid and I'd see the red, I would think, oh,
Not
so
well
scared,
done,
it's not good. Yeah.
喂，而家擺雞髀咯喎，呢個係左邊嘅。大嚿食，邊度咁食啊？斬雞梗係咁斬噶嘛，斬雞係咁斬噶，冇話大嚿食噶嘛，係嘛？OK， 擺喺呢度。雞翼咧，雞翼擺喺呢度，好啦，擺好隻雞啦。隻碟太細，呢隻雞太大隻，咁啊齊晒啦。好，恭喜發財，世界和平。好啊，呢隻白切雞整好啦，係咪？
Finally, we'll tackle another must-have New Year dish: whole steamed fish.
朋友們又見到啦，大家。今日咧同大家介紹下我哋平時屋企蒸魚。屋企咧經常就係食呢隻，好多時喺 Costco 買嗰隻魚嚟嘅。因為紅色嘅質，我哋叫做紅色嘅質魚咧。
This recipe works with lots of different types of fish, and my parents elaborate on their favorites during mealtime, and also how they buy fish in a separate video. In general, you should try to buy fish that's in season, since it will generally be fresher and cheaper. If possible, you should also try to buy fish from sustainable sources. Monterey Bay Aquarium runs a free website called Seafood Watch, which has a bunch of recommendations for sources to buy from or to avoid.
喺 Costco 買翻嚟，基本上我已經係打好晒輪嘅，洗乾淨㗎啦。首先咧，整咗呢個就中間入邊，佢咧因為佢如果除咗佢咧，條魚就唔腥啦。睇到啦，大家睇到啊？係咁啦，或者啲油嚟嘅，肥啲魚油嚟嘅，我哋要除咗佢嗱，你剪掹咗佢出嚟得㗎啦。嗱，得啦， 掹咗出嚟啊！除咗咧，然後咧中間咧黑色嗰條魚入邊嗰啲血嚟嘅，睇到嘛？黑色嘅睇到嘛？呢個刀咁刮一刮佢，蒸好嚿魚嘅時候咧，啲肉咧會白啲噶啦，冇嗰啲黑色嘅血水喺度啦。中間咁刮咗佢，近條骨嗰度有啲血喺度嘅，咗佢之後咧，俾水沖一沖佢，沖乾淨佢。嗱，睇嚟唔乾淨咯，係嘛？好啦，抹乾佢，霎乾啲入邊啲水佢。最好就咁樣做，因為佢啲魚咧係經過冷凍嚟嘅，佢啲血佢就喺入邊定中間噶啦。你最好就整咗佢，咁整都得，唔整你如果係唔嫌佢腥咧，你咪唔好整咯。而家冇血水得啦，係嘛？得啦嘛，咁整乾淨咯，乾淨咧蒸嗰條魚咧就會靚好多啦。通常呢啲魚咧喺啲 market 買翻嚟，多數都已經整好晒啲鱗啊，咁啊冇嗰隻冇鱗噶啦。唔同嗰啲，如果你喺餐廳買嗰啲油滾水嗰啲咧，當時嗰啲做工嗰啲人都幫你整好晒先走噶啦，唔使翻嚟屋企整噶啦。如果你翻嚟有咁嘅自己翻嚟除咧，可以咁樣咁刮乾淨佢，壓咁啊打咁壓，你咪刮乾淨。或者你用刀咁樣揼。仲有一個方法，你想乾淨啲咧，俾膠袋入住佢，咁樣入住條魚咧，磨佢啲鱗，等啲鱗出嚟。佢啲鱗你又唔會收到絲埋，咁就俾手得噶啦。咁樣佢啲鱗咧就放喺入邊噶啦。嗱，唔使呢個都得啦，就咁俾手指甲。我平時咧就俾咁，我行完就咁樣。你哋啲 young man 咧係咪唔咩就咁得啦，就咁得噶啦，好乾淨嘅，會好乾淨噶啦，咁樣就知道嘛？係嘛？睇到嘛？明白嘛 ？OK。
你買翻嚟係咪已經喺中間切咗啊？
嗰條魚買翻嚟已經係咁噶啦。你喺 Costco 買翻嚟都屙來啲魚都劏好晒噶啦，屙來整晒入邊啲嘢出嚟噶啦。
已經除晒啲腸。
已經除晒腸噶啦。我就翻嚟要除咗中間嗰，我唔中意嗰啲。仲有一樣嘢咧，我話俾大家聽，你想條魚快啲熟，嗱，如果假如啲魚係大條嘅，喺中間呢度。呢度，咁樣佢咪通咗咯，佢咪快脆啲熟咯，知道嘛？喺呢度最後最多肉嗰度整咗呢度咧，咁呢度熟咗，呢度都熟噶啦。
咁會快好幾多啊？幾多分鐘啊？
咪快幾分鐘嘅問題係一齊熟，唔使話呢啲熟啲，呢啲未熟。如果唔係咧，呢啲薄啲啦，啲肉冇咁多肉噶嘛，咁呢度熟咗，嗰度未熟咯，咁明白啦 ？Cat， 人哋先。
Yeah, got it.
OK， 好啦，魚就整好啦。嗱，我哋而家咧整嗰啲薑果皮，我哋屋企通常蒸魚咧都用呢啲果皮落去。如果你冇屋企唔中意嘅，你咪唔俾得噶，就呢個葱薑葱就得噶啦，唔一定要俾佢。仲有，如果你中意辣嘅咧，你切啲辣椒少少就得噶啦。嗱，我而家嚟整嘢啦嚇，睇住，首先切啲果皮先，啲乾皮嚟乾嘅 ，OK。
We talk about this more in our steamed spare rib video, but my dad has been caring for a Mandarin orange tree and curating his own stash of dried peels for decades. The one he's currently using here is probably aged anywhere from 5 to 15 years. Mandarin orange peels are one of my dad's secret ingredients in a bunch of his recipes, especially for fish, since it helps reduce some of the fishy taste that some of you were asking about. But you can also buy some on Amazon or create your own stash by drying Mandarin orange peels for 2 or 3 days and sealing them in a bag. Make sure you store it in a cool, dark area. We'll also mince a tiny amount of dried chili.
如果你中意食辣啲嘅，俾佢；唔中意辣嘅就唔好俾。薑辣，切咗半缸錢咁上下啦，半缸錢咁上下。葱，仲有呢啲咧，呢啲就擺喺啱啱蒸好之後擺喺面嘅。呢啲咧中間咁劏開佢，知嘛？中間劏開佢，睇啦。
你間同埋你煎味道點？
冇乜唔同嘅，好睇啲啫嘛。咁樣擺喺面上，佢會好睇啲。即係美觀啲，靚啲，係咯。嗱喺中間，嗱切咗佢，剪咗佢，呢啲咧就留低慢慢蒸熟嗰時擺喺面嘅。 同埋呢啲芫茜，啲芫茜咧，你擺上個面嘅嗱，呢啲芫茜出邊種啊，自己好多啊嗱咁啊。
To a bowl, we'll add 1 tablespoon of ground bean sauce. More on this later. Our ginger and chopped green onion shoots. A half tablespoon of light soy sauce. A dash of white pepper. A half teaspoon of salt. A dash of chicken bouillon, which is optional. A half teaspoon of sugar. A half teaspoon of cornstarch. And a half tablespoon of olive oil. We'll give the bowl a good mix for about 20 to 30 seconds. For the ground bean sauce, it might get confusing since there are a few different types of Asian bean sauces out there. In Cantonese, we call it mian si jiang, but most brands call it ground bean sauce in English. The sauce is made up with ground up fermented yellow soybeans and is packed with umami flavors. We have a link to buy the exact sauce my dad uses in our description.
好啦，咁就基本上就柴晒啦，麻油蒸好晒，再煮好啲油嗰時就俾落去啊，搞好晒個醬啦，而家切好晒啦，而家整一條魚啦嗬，嗰度咩料都有，薑有咩有啲有啦，嗱，整起佢。
My dad is only using about half of the sauce to brush inside of the fish, saving the other half to pour on top of the fish later.
好啦，我哋整個鑊過嚟呢邊。好，我哋俾啲水落去先哈。通常咧，我哋蒸魚咧，等啲水滾咗先擺條魚落去嘅。
因為你冇用晒啲薑，你點樣擺耐啲啊？
有皮嘅咧就唔使包得啦。呢啲我刨咗皮嘅咧，你就用個保鮮紙包住佢，擺喺雪櫃。將啲水滾水倒落去，快啲啊嘛，係咪？睇到嘛？咁樣佢又快啲啦，浸住佢底下佢，睇下多水咧蒸條魚咧就快啲熟，就多啲雪添啊，係咪？如果少水咪冇咁多雪添出嚟咯，係嘛？見到嘛？
Before we start steaming the fish in the wok, we'll pour the rest of our sauce on top of the fish.
睇到啦，啊，睇到嘛？嗱，呢度有啲薑，好多薑要葱，係咪？有啲果皮，係嘛？啊，將條魚擺落去，蒸嘅時間咧，呢個爐咧個火咧就唔係好似餐館嗰啲咁唔聲嘅。咁我哋屋企咧滾咗水之後就12分鐘，擺落去12分鐘。即係而家咁樣咧，我哋啲魚係經過呢個冷凍嚟嘅，就想佢蒸稍為熟少少。係如果係12分鐘係熟嘅，我蒸多分鐘13分鐘，等佢熟少少，健康啲、衞生啲。如果條魚係大條啲咧，蒸多2分鐘。我條魚係1磅多啲，呢啲魚嗰啲肉比較薄少少嘅，屋企蒸12分鐘就 OK 嘅啦。
好似一個安子要加幾多分鐘啊？
唔係咁計嘅，女仔，唔係咁計嘅，一個安士加幾分鐘唔係咁計嘅。通常我最主要係大條嘅魚咧，大條魚就好快脆熟嘅啫。除非好大條咁，你都蒸唔到呢隻鑊啦，係嘛？你要係好大條嘅2磅嘅魚都係蒸15分鐘乜都得。
But Chinese New Year we always have a fish. Cantonese 係魚 surplus, abundant and leftover. Cantonese 係魚。That means a lot. We our life in the New Year. Always, anything is enough. Whatever we need, we have. Correct? So, 魚 and 魚 is the same sound. So, we eat good fish, but we also use this meaning for the New Year. Expecting in the New Year, anything we let over from last year, we continue.
Oh, also, why does it have to be whole? Like, why not fish fillets?
完美完整整。
Perfect. We have the whole fish, we have the whole chicken.
Yeah.
We don't miss anything. Right? It's nothing missing.
Yeah.
That's just the meaning is perfect.
Yeah.
So nothing inside is missing.
Yeah. Plus for New Year's, you want to be like abundant. So you want to have the full fish, not just parts of it.
Yeah. Normal day is okay, but if you use for meaning, celebrate New Year, we always use the whole thing.
Yeah.
Is there I've read there's a saying like 年年有餘.
年年有餘 mean every year have
More and more?
abundant and leftover plenty. That means every year we have plenty of. Carry over to next year.
Yeah.
We don't have to worry. So that's why we always have a fish on the table when the New Year.
點樣知道夠熟啊？
睇隻眼係白色嘅，而家隻眼係黑色嘅嘛。蒸熟條魚咧，條魚係白色隻眼，或者你俾個筷子篤篤佢最後嗰啲肉嗰度篤篤佢落去。
點樣知道如果係太熟啊？
如果太熟嘅時候咧，你又要知道食先知道佢太熟唔熟啦。 啲肉就會鞋啲，冇咁滑。如果你係唔係太長時間，佢唔會熟嘅，唔會太熟嘅，14分鐘就好啦。你唔好整到15分鐘、20分鐘，點啊？
咁如果係唔係呢個爐，
嗰啲爐都係一樣，你滾佢都係滾水嚟㗎嘛，滾都係100度啫嘛，滾就係滾啦。嗰啲水唔係會再熱啲嘅，不過大火同細火咁解啫嘛。
If it's undercooked, he can still put it back in and cook it longer. Is that true?
如果唔夠熟嘅話，你成條魚，你咪啲水一係再蒸翻佢，一係就冚住條魚擺落尾嗰位叮3分鐘、2分鐘，佢就熟啦。如果條魚係唔熟嘅咧，佢啲骨同啲肉就唔會分開嘅，近住啲骨佢哋會紅色嘅，有啲血水喺度嘅。但係好多人咧，Chinese 好多人佢中意有啲血水喺度嘅，唔會咁熟嘅。佢話咁好食啲，滑啲，啲肉滑啲。
喺餐館係咪淨係用呢個碟啊，定係用鐵碟啊？
多數都係用呢啲碟，有啲係用嘅鐵嘅碟，冇乜分別。不過通常出餐啲餐館唔會用隻鐵碟出餐出嚟，多數都係用呢啲碟。
有人哋問點樣嘅皮點樣唔整爛啊？
啲皮唔會爛嘅啲皮啊，啲皮係韌嘅嘛，啲皮都唔會爛㗎。你就算咩條魚都唔會爛㗎，就算你蒸好熟條魚個魚皮都唔，即係一層皮喺度，佢唔會爛啲魚，即係啲肉爛，啲皮唔會爛。
如果個眼係白色咁，仲要等幾多分鐘啊？
得㗎啦，而家都拎起㗎啦。因為呢條魚我哋喺屋企食嘅咧，而家啲因為枯筍嘅魚蒸多1分鐘，就好啲，衞生啲啊嘛。蒸熟少少唔緊要，睇到啦，掀開㗎啦。嗱，再你嚟篤佢，細啦，係嘛？篤唔落去咁咪唔熟，咪唔熟啦。嗱，得嘛？好啦，我哋而家咧俾啲葱落去 ，OK， 再指啲油上去，指油咧就用呢啲咩粟米油落去，得2個湯匙就夠，因為我哋呢已經有啲油喺度噶啦嘛。
有啲人會倒埋啲水先加油。
係倒水，如果清蒸嗰啲魚係倒咗水，但係我哋啲係我哋教嗰啲梳士嚟嘅，唔係淨係水嚟嘅，知道嘛？係如果唔冇落嗰啲咧，係倒咗啲水，先至再倒油，你再開啲豉，倒啲豉油落去嘅。俾你慘到幾多嘢？幾多
250度。
250度啊？未夠，起碼300啦。
370。
得啦，得啦。好，再俾埋啲芫茜上去，靚晒啦。OK， 魚就蒸好啦。呢個就係我哋屋企經常蒸個家常蒸魚啦。嗱 ，OK， 食得。叫媽咪，叫紅堆，紅堆食魚。
紅堆 we're ready.
紅堆嚟食魚，紅堆。
I also wanted to capture how my dad removed some of the bones before serving the fish, since he always does it so gracefully for our family. I've always been a little intimidated by this step, but my dad breaks it down very simply for us.
嚟啊！我哋而家咧就將條魚啲骨除咗嚟先嗬，嗰啲蒜咧擺喺隔離，就擺喺隔離先。首先咧，除咗條骨嘅中骨喺個中間嗰度，啲肉嗰度咧嗱，隻中間嗰度。中間嗰度除下，睇啦，呢度中間嗰條骨啦，呢隻魚就冇乜碎骨嘅，呢隻魚冇乜細條骨，淨係中間嗰條骨啫嚇。先好啦，咁啊成條骨除咗啦，係嘛？嗱呢度咧有啲細條嘅骨喺度。捧喺隔離，得啦，好啦，就除晒啲骨啦。呢啲咧，中間嗰啲呢啲骨唔緊要嘅，好似唔係碎骨嚟嘅啫。咁就除晒啦。咁你自己咧，中意食幾多就攞幾多得啦，知道嘛？仲有啲魚尾喺度啦，嗱，呢個魚頭喺度啦。餐館咪係咁，呢啲 waiter， 如果啲好嘅餐館啲 waiter 就同你咁整好晒啲骨度，個魚頭擺喺度，魚尾度擺翻成條喺度。
Yes. Hi.
Hi, you want to eat some fish?
YouTube thinks you'll like this recipe next. Let's see if they're right. A huge thank you to our wok stars and all of our chefs in the Kanto Cooking Club.